We've spent that much time talking about it. Let's dive into it. The Unnaturals, it's available worldwide on Amazon. So guys, if you like this book, by the sounds of it, you will like it when we get and talk about it. Go check it out. Go buy it. You can get it on e-reader format. You can get the paperback format, and it is worldwide. Go check it out. But the book itself, do you want to kind of blurb it up for people? Do you want to kind of just give people a little synopsis from the author's take on what the book's about?
Sure. So the book is set approximately 200 or 300 years in the future. This is post apocalypse kind of. So the world has essentially been destroyed except for two main societies. And kind of the basis for the story was based around people. So I read a paper when I was in university that kind of predicted what future humans would look like. And it included kind of a blending of all the different ethnicities and all the different cultures in the world until hopefully the entire world is kind of on the same page. So these future humans are faster, stronger, bigger, smarter than what we are today. And that is essentially the basis of the story. So the beginning of the story starts with our main character, UN-27, and he is kind of one of these advanced people. However, he has been raised and trained by one of the societies that didn't conform to the idea of globalism. So they're hyper religious, hyper strict, very isolated, and they are raising these young, essentially superhumans, to be soldiers for their army in order to protect them from what they view as the threat from the outside world.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, there's a lot more goes on, but you don't want to give too much away for people that actually want to go and read the book. But you said now you went to British Columbia to do the writing. And something I kind of realized going through it is you didn't give away a lot of locational markers or geographic markers. Did you have in mind the place that this was based in?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is based in North America. There's a very subtle line about kind of the general geographical area.
Yeah, with Alma and the globe.
Yeah, exactly. So the world is kind of destroyed at this point as well, right? So there wouldn't be very many markers. There wouldn't really be any landmarks, anything like that. So it's kind of it's hard to pinpoint the location per se, but there is a subtle hint as to the general area.
One thing I want to ask now, in the book, it specifically says that the events that are unfolding in the book are set 115 years after what in the book is called the Great Calamity, which would be the apocalyptic event. Was there an exact reason behind 115 years exactly?
Not that number per se. It just felt like a good jumping off point for humanity to begin to recover from that kind of mass extinction event.
Yeah. Next thing, now I'm either way off or I've hit the nail on the head, but the Puritans, which is one of the societies within the book, are the Puritans Nazis? Or wrote from that sociological point of view? Because it does mention it, which the way you've described it sounds very much like a Nazi salute these guys are throwing up.
Yes, it does. You're right. I wouldn't say that they are Nazis per se. There's definitely elements of like a fascist, authoritarian government, but they are not Nazis per se. It is a very multicultural society. There's quite a lot of diversity within their society, but there's very strict rules and very strict commandments that could be associated with Nazism.
Yeah. So this one, I've not seen anyone else mention it. From my research, I've never heard anyone ask you this question. But if you plan to read the book, it probably is a little bit of a leaker. But the name, right, after UN-27, Daxton, is that just Dustin Dixon mashed together?
That's so funny that you asked me that. I had that name picked out for years, and I honestly never really made the association with my own name. It was just a name that I thought was cool, and I like used it on like a bunch of different video games and stuff like that, and it honestly never occurred to me. And then as soon as I put the name out there and wrote like several more chapters, my dad was like, "Is that just your name?" And I was like, "Shit." It kind of is. Like, it wasn't intentional or deliberate in any way, but yeah, it's very similar to my name. So I understand that association, and that's hilarious that you brought that up.
I thought that was such because I thought it was just a very smart way of naming the character. Just like if I name him Dustin, it's a bit obvious. Dixon's a bit obvious, but I was kind of mash them together and go Daxon. That's a great way of combining both names together and putting yourself sort of in that first person role.
That's so funny, man. Yeah, there's no A in my name, so can't be
That's the
me.
only missing letter, though.
Yeah,
Oh, wait, the A could technically be Dustin and Dixon.
yeah, you got me, Johnny. You got me.
Now, next question, because now, do you have a twin in real life?
I don't. No, I don't have a twin, but I do have a brother who's only 1 year older than me. So we're very tight, and we're very similar as well. But no, we're not twins.
Not twins. Now, next question. You might not want to answer this one, or at least go into too much detail, just because I assume you might bring this up down the line again. But there is very little information on Nashers in the book. Are Nashers modeled on? Obviously, they're a mutated version, I assume, of something that would have originally been on Earth. Did you model them on some sort of creature when you had the idea to include them?
Yeah, for sure. I've always been obsessed with like crocodiles and alligators. They've been around for millennia. They're essentially dinosaurs, so they're like the ultimate survivors, right? So it wasn't something that I necessarily said like, here's an alligator that's like evolved, but it is very loosely based on their blueprint. Yeah.
Awesome. I kind of I thought that, but then part of it was like I was like they seem I think they're crocodiles and alligators, but I'm not really sure. But then there wasn't so much information, so I kind of thought, is this another storyline for down the road? Like, is this something that I'm going to ask him and he's going to be like, oh, I can't talk about that. That's like a whole other story coming.
Yeah, they'll definitely be featured more in the second novel. But yeah, if there was a creature that was going to survive a mass extinction event, don't you think it would be like crocodiles and alligators, or like
100%.
sharks?
Yeah, definitely. So this one was a bit more of a brain teaser for me because I was trying to work it out for so long. Prometheus coal. Prometheus, from what I found, is not a real word or isn't a known word. So I have two kind of like ideas on where I think that name came from, and hopefully they're right, but I'll give you them anyway here. So first of all, I thought radioactive promethium, based on the events that happened to cause the Great Calamity and then what the Great Calamity was. My second thought then was, after I kind of read Prometheum, I kind of went, oh, this is a bit more obvious. Prometheus, the Titan god of fire, and obviously the earth was burned up during the calamity. And Prometheus, if anyone doesn't know the Titan gods, Prometheus is said to have molded humans from clay and gave life to civilization. Is that somewhere along the lines? Am I?
Yeah, man, you nailed it. It is Prometheus. So, like you said, in mythology, he basically gave fire to human beings. He molded human beings. So, in the Puritan society, Prometheus would be somebody that, in mythology, he betrayed the gods to create humans. But their interpretation of it is that he is kind of their benefactor. Like you said, he brought fire to the world, so the world's been destroyed, and he created these humans. So in the images that they are, so in the Puritan society, they view themselves as the proper human beings, and so they kind of took this image of Prometheus and adapted it. And like you said, it's not a real word. I did tweak the word a bit to make it a position within a government of essentially the all father, the supreme leader. Prometheus is essentially the president. He's the leader of church and of state.
Yeah. Now, this next one was such a subtle little, like, I think unless you knew what you were reading, you wouldn't understand the little fun hint towards it. But the book does have mention to certain plants that are smoked within the mountain. Obviously, you're from Canada, so Canada's quite a legal country anyway. So Obviously that is it, because obviously you talk about hemp, you talk about the uses of the hemp within the mountain and within the society, and the use for the plant when smoked for taking the edge off both body and mind.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That like you said, that was a very obvious hint at, again, just kind of my own personal beliefs about how society views this plant and how different countries and just worldwide, like it has so many benefits and so many uses for a society like this. And if you were going to basically have like one or two plants that would help support your society, it would absolutely be one of them, because it has all these different benefits, all these different ways of using it that can help you and your people survive. So yeah, nice catch.
I mean, it's very hard. You specifically wrote that prohibition caused the meltdown.
I did write that, yeah.
The war on drugs literally caused the apocalypse.
I'm sure it played a part when it inevitably happens. I'm sure it didn't help.
Hey, it's your book, dude. If you say it caused the apocalypse, it damn caused the apocalypse, and I'm all for it.
Oh yeah.